End Times and the Secret of the Mahdi by Michael Youssef, Ph.D. The Kings from the East. While moving through the Great Tribulation, we have seen a series of cataclysms in groups of sevens, 7 seals, 7 trumpets, and 7 bowls of judgment. We have seen earthquakes, an eclipse of the sun, the moon turning to blood, the stars falling from the heavens, and the mountains and islands shaken out of their places. In Revelation 16, we see the 7 bowls of God's wrath, a series of plagues much like the plagues God inflicted on Egypt in Moses' day, only on a global scale. The first bowl is a plague of painful sores. The second bowl turns the sea into blood. The third bowl turns the rivers to blood. The fourth bowl causes the sun to blaze hotter. The fifth bowl plunges the world into darkness. Now we come to the 6th bowl of God's wrath, described in Revelation 16:12. The 6th angel pours out his bowl upon the Euphrates River. The river dries up, opening a clear path for an invasion by the kings from the east. What does it mean for the Euphrates to dry up? It means that conditions are ripe for satanic forces to be unleashed and for the Battle of Armageddon to begin. The Euphrates is a natural boundary established by God. It has its source in eastern Turkey, flows through Syria and Iraq, then joins the Tigris and empties into the Persian Gulf. In ancient times, the Euphrates formed the western boundary of the Persian Empire. By drying up the river, God erases that natural boundary and unleashes evil forces on the world forces called the Kings of the East. Who are these Kings of the East? They are not human beings. As we compare Scripture with Scripture, it becomes clear that these kings are demonic rulers. The Bible tells us that invisible kings and princes have been assigned to nations and empires on the earth. These forces are part of the spiritual hierarchy of Satan's kingdom. In Deuteronomy 4:19, God warns Israel not to worship spirits on the earth or in the sky. Do not be enticed into bowing down to them and worshipping things the Lord your God has apportioned to all the nations under heaven. There is another reference in Deuteronomy to God dividing the nations among angelic or demonic beings. But the meaning of that verse is obscured in the New International Version. It reads, "When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he divided all mankind, he set up boundaries for the peoples according to the number of the sons of Israel." Deuteronomy 32:8. That phrase, the sons of Israel, comes from the Masoretic Hebrew text. But the ancient text of the Dead Sea Scrolls reads differently. Instead of the sons of Israel, it reads the sons of God. In Genesis and Job, the term sons of God refers to both fallen and unfallen angels. The Greek Septuagint reads the angels of God. Many Bible translators have chosen to follow the Dead Sea Scrolls and Septuagint sense. He assigned to each nation a heavenly being. Good News Translation. Divine beings. New American Bible, Revised Edition. And the Heavenly Assembly. New English Translation. It is clear that the sons of God, or the angels of God, is the correct sense of that verse, because the next verse reads, "For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob, his allotted inheritance." Deuteronomy 32:9. In other words, Moses is saying in these 2 verses that when God divided up the nations and set boundaries for the people, he assigned the sons of God, the heavenly assembly of angels, to the various nations and kingdoms, all except the nation of Israel. The Lord assigned himself to be the spiritual ruler of Jacob's nation, Israel. All other nations are spiritually ruled by an angelic prince or king. As you study everything the Scriptures have to say about these spiritual rulers of nations, it seems clear that they are fallen angels, demons, under the command of Satan. The prophet Isaiah also refers to these invisible powers and kings. In that day the Lord will punish the powers in the heavens above, and the kings on the earth below. Isaiah 24:21. In Ephesians 6:12, the Apostle Paul speaks of our spiritual struggle against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world. In Colossians 1:16, he speaks of things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. The most profound and detailed reference to these demonic spiritual rulers is found in the book of Daniel. In Daniel 10:13, we read of the demonic prince of Persia, who detained God's messenger and could only be overcome with the help of the archangel Michael. And in Daniel 10:20, the messenger refers to the prince of Greece, the demonic being who rules over that nation. In Psalm 82, we read of God's judgment against these invisible kings. The psalmist calls them gods. God presides in the great assembly. He renders judgment among the gods. The gods know nothing. They understand nothing. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, "You are gods. You are all sons of the Most High. But you will die like mere mortals. You will fall like every other ruler. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations are your inheritance." Psalm 82, 1, 5-8. America has spent decades, thousands of American lives, and trillions of dollars trying to bring order and stability to the Persian Gulf region. Who dominates the Persian Gulf? Iran, the nation. The Bible calls Persia. Through its many client states, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, the Persian nation of Iran dominates the region. In 2015, leaders of the United States and other countries forged an agreement with Iran to prevent that nation from acquiring nuclear weapons. Our leaders and negotiators had no idea who or what they were negotiating with. I'm certain that sitting across the table from them was an invisible presence, the same presence that struggled with the messenger to Daniel and the archangel Michael, the demonic prince of Persia. After all these centuries, the invisible ruler of Persia is still calling the shots in that land. God has chosen not to tell us very much about these invisible kings. He has told us just enough that we would be aware of them, but not so much that we would become obsessed with them. God doesn't want us to be mesmerized by the kingdom of darkness. He wants us to keep our eyes fixed on him.